Hi guys, it's Ross here, bringing you another edition of Conquest, Warhammer Conquest scenery, and today it's the Thermic Plasma Regulators. So crinkle, 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 probably can't see a lot through the shiny, so we'll quickly remove this and get straight with it. Sorry about the noise. This is the bit you want, right? Okay. Okay, so move that to one side. So, Thermic Plasma Regulators. That's what these bad boys look like. You've probably seen them in the back of Kill Team pictures, things like that. So, brilliant for that kind of thing. Some small-ish piece of scenery, again from Conquest. So, we've already had barrels and barricades. The Rise of Ruins, which is quite nice. Promethean pipes I've done a video on as well. I've done a couple of pictures of the Rise of Ruins and it's on our Instagram page. Check it out. But yeah, this time it is these things. So basically, fancy name and everything, but it's a plasma lift, I guess you call it. So a little platform. Sits on top of here, goes up and down, plasma reactor, it's basically moving it. So that's all you get in the packet. And in your Conquest magazine that you get with it, ooh, Blood Angel Successor chapters. I didn't know that. I've just literally opened it, as you've seen. Blood Angels fan, so I'm definitely going to be reading this. So the few of the successor chapters. The Angels Sanguine, always look pretty cool because like Death Company on one side, Blood Angels on the other side. Beasts of Nurgle, cool. I'm a bit of a Nurgle fan as well, hence that's why I'm going for Conquest. One half Nurgle, one half Space Marines, Armies of the Imperium. So in Conquest, I don't know if you've seen any of my other videos, you have a little bit of fluff, a little bit of rules, so like background and things like that. Some maps and how to build. So every time, obviously, when you get your bit, there's a how to build, which is quite clear as well. And how to paint. So pretty much all lead belcher. Bit of Rakar flesh for the lift itself. So the small platform at the top of the Thermic Plasma Reactor has been painted with Rakar flesh. Good old Mephiston red for a bit of detail there. So yeah, the step-by-step on how to paint is always nice and clear. I will probably paint it much the same way because the top of my Administratum building for 40k, the platforms look kind of like that kind of colour, so that's what I'll probably go for. But I will probably airbrush the plasma reactors itself. And you can see a little bit of a mode line there actually in the picture, in the centre. So I'll see what I can do with that. Maybe some plastic glue will melt that together nicely. And yeah, and pictures next to it, you can see that they're a bit glowy-fied with the plasma, so I'm quite surprised they haven't put it in the how to paint section. But normally the how to paint section is very good, and it tells you on the back what's next. So we were after lead belcher, and funny enough, guess what they supply? Bit of lead belcher in the next edition, and some Space Marine Scouts. They're not just snap fit Space Marine Scouts, you know, you can only equip them with the bolters. They actually do come with the pistol and the close combat variant as well, so it's quite a good set, which I've got up in the attic of doom, some things never return from. So I will clip these out and I will paint them. So I'll do a small stage by stage, and obviously when you're cutting anything out, use a chopping board One of these is wicked. Obviously this is years old and it's covered in multiple layers of dust and paint. So I will chop these out and I will get back to you. Okay, so once your model is assembled and mould lines have been removed, nothing like mould lines on the model to ruin your day, just scrape it with the back of a knife or a mould line removing tool. Now, like I said, I'm using some of this MIG paint I bought from a show. Jesus, I can't talk tonight. No alcohol, I assure you. So, I'm going to add a little bit to my airbrush and see what this takes like. So, using a paint that you've never used before, always use on a bit of card or a miniature first, but I've used MIG before in the past, I'm fairly happy with it. So, pressure's pretty good, nice and low. Let's see what the coverage is like on this without any primer. So the kit comes with 2 halves, so if I didn't like it without primer, I'll paint the other side with primer. But it's covering quite well. And you can always use 2 thin coats of the airbrush, but it's covering quite nicely. Using gloves that I acquired from work. Yes, I said acquired, not stole. Stop judging me. Yes, covering quite nicely, so nice and gentle. fairly low pressure on the gun. It's covering really well. I think that'll do for the first coat. Let's see how it goes. Alright, it's not bad, not bad at all. So very nice coverage. Like I said, I've used MIG paints before, very happy with it. So see how that dries, may need to apply another coat. And airbrushing saves so much time. So that's supposed to be lead belcher, as GW recommends, with quite a large brush. It takes time, but an airbrush I think is quicker and a lot smoother. So we'll come back for possibly a second coat. Okay, so while that's drying, we can paint the platforms. So Rakkar Flesh is what they suggested. I am actually going to use Rakkar Flesh because I do like it, the colour. I think it's a lovely colour. So I pour a little bit in my airbrush pot. Now I have watered it down slightly with a little bit of airbrush thinner. And we'll see how that goes. So, okay, quite like that. I was testing it out. So for those at home, yeah, it's pretty smooth. Now this I do believe I'll probably have to put 2 coats of. Nice and gentle. One of the main reasons is because there's a lot of nooks and crannies on this platform. These pieces of scenery from Conquest, they will take no time at all to paint, especially with an airbrush. Should paint each set up probably in an evening. So a few basic colours is what I'm going to do, and then I'm just going to blast it with a wash. And once again, yes, I'm going to use an airbrush for a wash. Really struggling not to sing Stevie Wonder, which is stuck in my head at the minute. Don't want to be sued for copyright reasons, because I'm sure I can sing just as well as Stevie Wonder, if not better. So trying to get in all the little nooks first, little coggy areas, and fairly low pressure before getting the higher areas, because the higher areas you can hit really easy, not a problem. And if you notice, I'm not doing it 100% smoothly on purpose, because it's not going to be pristine. This thing's in the 41st millennium, it's probably seen a lot of action. And as you know by now, if you've been following any of my videos, I don't like any of my scenery pristine. A bit beaten. So I could crank up the pressure a little bit, but yeah, nice and controlled, so it's good. Paint an end aside, even though probably no one's ever going to see it. And another great thing about airbrushing is I've literally just finished painting this one, and the other one's probably, I would say, due for its second coat. Yeah, I would say that's pretty good. So, nice and dry. Cool. The presser's working overtime. Give it a second. Yeah, seems pretty good. Pretty decent. Just blast these little areas that I was holding. Okay, so that's quite striking now, those colours. Before it looked a bit dim. Normally that's how I'd leave it, but if I'm putting a wash on it, we want a bit brighter because it's going to get darker in the recesses anyway. Okay, I'm going to leave it to that. Come back when it's all dry and throw some wash on it. Okay, for those who know me, know that I like to use a tile when putting my paints from the pot on the brush, on the tile, on the miniature. Not straight out of the pot. Obviously you can apply a little bit of water if you want to thin it down. But we'll just go with a few of the bits of detail before we use Agrax. So I just want to pick out a few of the goldy bits. So really like the gold from Games Workshop at the moment. Retributor armor. I think it's a fantastic gold. Some of the golds they had over the years weren't great, but this one's quite smooth and just the right colour for me, and you can easily make it look antique. But no, I'm really happy with this. Gold, alright. So just picking out, like I said, a few bits of detail. Because even though this is a tabletop standard, you know, you still want a little bit here and there. So a few of the panels I'm going to hit with gold. Maybe some of the pipes I'm going to paint red or something. I mean, there's a few suggestions in the Conquest magazine it comes with. So obviously I'm doing it quite quick, I'm not taking a lot of time, just to show you guys what you can do. But obviously you can edge highlight and things like that rather than just throwing a wash on. Paint, a little bit of water. Any other bits I want to paint gold? Maybe a little bit at the front. So it's quite hot at the moment, so my paint's drying quite fast, so I've got a little bit of water on the brush. Not putting too much on the palette at any one time, because it dries out quite quickly. So just picking up a few of the bits of detail on each piece. Is there anything here that I would say looks like gold? Is probably what looks like a brass etching to me. But you can paint it whatever you like. Just kind of using the side of the brush just to pick up the raised areas. I'm not sure if I want to do the whole of that piece, but sorry, I'll do it anyway. As you can see, my brush is a bit dry there, so I will rinse and repeat. Moist brush. Whenever you paint, always try to make a tip with the paintbrush. Always I'm doing this super fast, not caring if I'm neat. I mean, after I use an Agrax, I might actually do some rust marks on a few of the choice rivets. Yeah, so just picking up a little bit of detail here and there. Anything on there I want to be gold? Probably not on that side. Over the line a little bit there. So there a little plate there, I would say was probably gold. Okay, Alright, now I will pick a colour for some of the lenses. I probably go for a nice red on some lenses. And green for a few of the computer consoles, a few of the screens for that. So just one more piece of code here. I thought I might need another coat of paint for. I mean, if you're in the States or anything, in one of the counties that are really hot, you're probably used to your paint drying so fast. You might use a wet palette. Slow it down a bit. Okay, like I said, now I'll pick a nice red and do a few of the lenses, and a green for some computer screens. Be right back. Okay, right, so moist brush, a little bit of green, making a tip with my brush. And no, there's a few computer screens around here, so there's one here, right, so a little console screen. Right, that nice and even, nice and smooth if I can. There's one. No. Right, that was very short. So one green screen, then hitting a red for a few of the. So I'm going to go really bright red, purely because I know I'm going to throw an Agrax over everything, and the Agrax will calm the reds down. So I'm just doing a few little temperature gauges here, or pressure gauges, whatever you deem fit. That big red lever, surely that's a red lever. That's a red lever if I've ever seen one. I need two coats going over the silver. So the basic idea is to put down your base colours, excuse me, and then put down a wash, and then pick up the raised highlighted areas. So what have we got on here that I can, there's a couple of little temperature gauges again. One there, one there. There was green, which paint the other one red, so obviously this has got to be red. Can't have one without the other. Okay, I'm pretty good. I don't think there's anything on here that I want to paint red. Although there is a little green computer screen that I missed. There's a bit of red that I could do on a gauge there. Alright, and where's that green? I'm reasonably happy with that. So once that's all drying, I will probably stick it together, so the platforms onto the pylons themselves, and then I'll hit it with the Agrax Earthshade. I'll be right back. Okay, so now I've got the bit stuck together. Very, very basic, a bit too shiny. So, this is the Agrax Earthshade. Make sure the lid's on the pot. Right, I'm going to blast it through the airbrush. So, make sure you hit all the recesses first. So nice and light all over. Let's see what that comes out with. So it doesn't matter if this is not even, because like I said, it's a bit dirty. It's well used. So we'll see what that dries. But while I've got some painted up and a little bit in my hopper, I'm gonna paint the other one. So pour a little bit more Agrax in. You can burn through a lot of Agrax this way, but results look pretty good. So it might be best to put Agrax on with a brush, old school, rather than using an airbrush. Because it does rip through it in no time. Maybe a little bit more. Yeah, pretty much used a quarter of a pot for just these two things. Right, okay, and then we see what it looks like when it's drying, and that's when we do the edge highlights, start to do some of the panels. Let's see what this thing looks like. Okay, back in a bit. So if you airbrush Agrax Earthshade, it will stay on the surfaces more, rather than hitting the recesses, giving more a dirty feel than a highlighted feel. So this is what I was going for. So it's all hitting the surfaces and pretty much staying there. So all now the really bright silver is nice and worn. It's starting to look a bit used and ropey now. Alright, next I'm going to hit these areas with some white, real bright white in the centre, less on the outside pieces, to start the reactor glow. Nice and gentle to start with. even coverage. And as it dries, I'm hitting the centre a bit harder. So hopefully when I put the blue over the top, the centrepiece will look a bit brighter. It's nice and gentle, nice and even. Okay, just like that. Nice and gentle, and hit the centre a bit harder. Okay. And hit the centre of this one a bit harder again. Hopefully, when I put the blue on, give the illusion of actually glowing. I do. And now while I've got a little bit of white, I will start painting the white of the gauges. So if I can find the gauge for you, there we go. So on these gauges here, I'm going to put some white in behind the needles. Now maybe I should put the white in first, then I've done the red, possibly. But I certainly want to put the agrax over the white, because then the white will look more brown. I want to make them pop out a little bit. Okay, I'll start doing that now. Okay, and I think I'm also going to hit these skulls a little bit. So half the skull is metal, it's got a metal plate on it. The other half of the skull must be pretty freaky to have a human skull of this size, but I'm pretty sure it's not an actual skull, it's just the symbol in Mechanicum. Well, here's hoping in a way, but this is 40k, anything's possible. So that's just a base white. I'll get the highlights in a minute. Get a bit more white for the gauges. So I don't want to make it too ridiculously white, it will look a bit fake else. No gauges there, no gauges. Not I'm aware of, but there is another skull there, which I'm going to do the same thing on. You'd never have to douse anything with paint. A lot of it's implied. As in, that's the first layer. When it dries, I'll just do the highlight sections, put a wash on it, highlight sections again possibly. Yeah, implied as in, if you douse it with white, it's too brilliant white, it will look real. I'm pretty happy with that. Alright. So what I think I'll also do is, on top there's a couple of little lights. So I might just give that a bit of a blast. Like that. And there's one on the side. Just in the centre if I can. Same on the other, so just in the centre, nice and bright, and the one on the side, gently applied and then brighter in the centre. Any more for anyone? Doesn't like it. Let's hit the centre a bit brighter again. Hit the centre a bit brighter again. Alright, so when I paint over those, they should really pop now. Okay, so I've added a bit of blue. So let's see what this looks like. Nice and light, nice and gentle. Give it the desired glow effect. So I'm going around primarily the outside of this thing, as in the reactors. So nice and light. Trying to blend in the white to the blue. How's that? Okay, and if you remember, I've got a few little white dots here. I would like to turn it into some white effects. So just a little bit of a glow all the way around and hit it hard in the middle. So a little bit of glow all the way around and hit it hard in the middle. Just surround the nearby area, a little bit of light. Where you think the light might glow to. A little bit there, and the same on the other one, just a little bit there. Always remember to make the centre a bit redder. Cool, and that's that. Okay, so I think I will just dry brush the centre of the reactor. So I actually use makeup brushes, because, you know, highlights are pretty. And these things are really good. Get a little bit of paint on the brush. Just keep working until pretty much all the paint's gone. And start bringing up the centre of the reactor. Nothing too harsh at first. Possibly a little bit more paint on my brush. And when you dry brush something, make sure there's absolute minimum paint on the brush possible. think that'll do for a minute. When it dries, I'll go a little bit more white in the centre. And when that dries, I'll hit a little bit harder white in the centre again. Getting closer and closer to the centre as I go. It's a bit more white on that one there. Brush off the excess. That just gives the illusion from a distance that it's actually glowing. So the brightest point would be the centre of the reactor core, like so. Okay, and then just hit the centre a bit harder again. Using a bigger makeup brush this time, just to show you what you can use. Put it on a bit heavier as well. It's just a regular cheapy nasty makeup brush. Really just getting in the centerpiece. Looks kind of glowy, right? Put a bit more white on. Trying to hit the center as hard as I can now. Once that dries, hit the center a bit harder again. Alright. I mean, that's pretty much the end of it for me here. You can pick out all the detail you wanted to on the sides, like make some nice rusted rivet effects, things like that. Maybe put some dust or dirt effects along the bottom of the piece. All I've done is put some sepia wash on the skulls to make them look a bit more bone-like. So there, and that big one there. So the idea was to have a piece of scenery done in about an hour. So yeah, not so bad. I mean, always airbrush speeds it up. I mean, you can spend a good couple of hours on each piece, really bring out the detail. Like the pipes inside here, you have some nice coloured small cabling, and then on the big cabling maybe some rusted pipes. But my point was, it's Conquest. You know, you can open up the packet and rip out some nice pieces of scenery rather quickly to chuck on your table. So that's just quickly painted scenery. And yeah, the stuff you get in Conquest is fantastic. Of course, you can buy the full kits from GW. Conquest, normally you get like half a packet. So when it came to the Promethean pipes, which I've done a video on, it's half of the box that you normally buy from GW. Comes in the Conquest set. And yeah, quality stuff. They all fit together quite nicely, and they fit with each other quite nicely. So each piece, you know, can easily be connected to another, and they don't look out of place at all. So I mean, for example, the piece on the side here, Promethean pipe, can butt right up against it, so you can't see the skull, so it looks like the pipe's coming straight off of it. The riser rust stuff, so or riser ruins, sorry. It's like this, and then you can put the pipe directly onto the side for the Promethean pipes as well. All very interchangeable, brilliant pieces, quality detail. So yeah, you can spend a lot of time picking up the detail. Like I said, I just wanted to rip out a couple pieces for the local gaming club. It does look like it's glowing rather, but you can hit it harder, you can do whatever you like with it. You know, you can make it a green reactor core. I know blue's the traditional colour, but you know, anything really, it's all up to you. Thank you very much for watching, guys. See you again.